Let's face it, the Toyotas of the last few years have been about as exciting as watching the Parliamentary Channel. While sales have been doing this, prices have been doing this, and everything has been going less than right for Toyota. But over the last year or so, the winds of change have started to blow. I loved the FJ Cruiser. Sure, it's old tech, but it brought some much needed personality into the brand's lineup. Marius drove the Etios recently. That's not going to win any design awards, but it suddenly brought value for money back into the mix. Now it's time for value and excitement to come back together in one very anticipated product. Meet the 86, not the FT or the GT, just 86. Designed and manufactured in partnership with Subaru, it's a breath of fresh air in Toyota's lineup. A rear-wheel drive, front-engine sports coupe that's set to make petrol heads of the world sit up and take notice. Or is it?
I do find it to be a lot more radical than some of the Toyotas that are out there at the moment. In terms of what they've been producing before, the Celica and the Supra, it's sort of in line with that long bonnet with the taut rear end. So I think it really looks nice, it'll stand out.
I think it's wonderful, I think it's very noticeworthy and everyone on the road will stop and turn and stare at the car. It's great.
Well, I like the proportions. It's a lot smaller in real life, compact than it looks like in the pictures.
It's maybe could have been a little bit more radical.
Styling very contemporary, definitely appealing to the youth. It's a step in the right direction, it really is. It's sleek and it's a beautiful coupe styling.
The 86 is not about the looks though, and it's not about comfort either. It's not about practicality, and it's not about straight line speed. It's about this. Fun! The 86 is all about unbridled fun, so it's fitting that they brought us here to an airfield for the launch to experience drifting lessons, sideways in a car that knows how.
Everybody thinks that drifting is steering.
Yes.
It's not steering. It's throttle control. Okay. So what I do is I go first gear, I go a little bit wide, okay, just to get it in.
Yep.
I turn towards the cone.
Yep.
Okay. When I'm around here, I pop the clutch. Okay. And there we are. And I keep my nose on the scope. That's all I do.
So after a short lesson, it was time to see if the 86 could turn anyone into a drifter. Weighing just over 1,200 kilograms and with a 53-47 weight distribution, I was hopeful.
Stop it.
Whilst a duo of aerobatic planes provided thrills high up above, the 86 was pirouetting its way through the black stuff. Interestingly, Toyota made a decision to bring the car with a standard spec of 16-inch alloys, tyres similar to what you'll find on a Prius, and they did that to get the maximum potential out of the chassis and suspension.
No problem. You're going to get the balance now. Don't think that you're going to get it first time.
Well, it wasn't the first time, or the second time, or the third time. In fact, most of the time I just felt like a dog looking for a good spot to sit down. And then...
Just, okay. Throttle. Other side of throttle.
Oh my God! Well, then there was just no stopping the hooligan inside.
Good drift car is a good balance, definitely front to rear weight balance, a good suspension and a suspension that feeds back, a chassis that feeds back to the driver. It's what's happening, the surface of the road, what the vehicle's doing, its weight transfers, all subliminal. It really is. Minimal tweaks needed to the suspension to get this car to go sideways competitively.
Oh my goodness, okay. Cool.
But you start getting the feel of it.
I loved the drifting. The drifting was just the best. It was just so much fun.
Yeah, it was good fun. How you're not going to have fun when you're taking a car sideways and making a lot of smoke. It's got good balance, and also the throttle is, because it's not turbocharged, there's no worry about lag. The naturally aspirated engine, it responds well, so it's quite easy to control and get the hang of it quite quickly.
Yes, let's talk about that hot topic, the lack of a turbo. The 86 is a robot-to-robot dasher by no means. But out on the open road, it makes decent use of its 147 kilowatts and 205 newton meters, both developed at over 6,000 revs.
It's got the right combination, the front engine, rear-wheel drive layout, proper chassis. Doesn't quite have the power that its predecessors have, the likes of the A80 Supra, but you can look past that when you get behind the wheel of the car and just enjoy the fun factor of it.
It's got a unique sound that's not a growl or a roar, but more of a whine with a hint of a scream in it. You don't need to chuck it into a corner very hard for that little bum to kick out and play. So what it lacks in the power department, it makes up for in handling.
I found the ride to be quite compliant, although I spent a lot of time in the automatic, and I don't think an automatic gearbox works very well in this kind of car. Maybe with a bit of forced induction, an automatic would make more sense.
We only drove the auto box on the open road and I didn't find it too bad at all. You've got paddles on your steering wheel which give a relatively quick change and add to that sporty feel inside the car. It's got all the right go faster bits when it comes to the interior. A short stubby gear stick, leather and Alcantara seats in our high-spec model, red stitching and aluminium pedals. The driving position is comfy and cosseting. Don't worry about the back, they're not even worth mentioning. The boot offers a full-size spare wheel which takes up most of the space and looks very unfinished. But it's up here that the most burning question comes to mind. That horizontally opposed boxer engine has been slapped with a big Subaru badge. The fellow Japanese manufacturer has its almost identical car, the BRZ, on its way to South Africa, said to be due later this year. So, should you wait?
We do know that there's going to be slight differences in the BRZ to the 86 in terms of suspension setup, mainly just to get the BRZ feeling a little more Subaru-like and four-wheel drive-like than what the 86's rear-wheel drive feels. If you had to go with Subaru, you sort of know they're going to bump the price up a little higher than the 86. Go for the 86, go for the standard spec model. You're going to have the most fun for the least amount of money.
It doesn't actually matter what's under the hood or what the specs are or who its competitors are. This is not a car to be quoted or weighed up. It's a car to be experienced. Toyota is bringing a limited number of 86s to South Africa, just over 50 units a month initially. It'll be available in 3 different models, 2 manuals, one standard and the other high-spec, and a 6-speed auto in high-spec. Prices start just under 300,000 Rand. This top-end model we're driving will set you back 346,500 Rand.
The pricing is sensational. I actually think it's possibly a little bit too cheap. If I was Toyota, I would have pitched it a little bit higher because they've got such limited volumes anyway. It just makes business sense to price it slightly higher, maybe starting at 350. I don't think they would have lost one single sale.
You get your older clientele that will enjoy it for what it is, a driver's and a purist's car that enjoys a good chassis, tight handling, nippy sort of personality. There is a large demographic that isn't going to be fond of it just because of its lack of outright straight line power.
Excitement is great. I would rate it probably up there with Honda's S2000. Just a little bit more grunt. I would like a little bit more grunt, and that alone will give it a lot more street cred. At the moment, I think it's gonna have a lot of work to do.
Probably more people should buy it than might, spice up their lives a little bit. It's a car that couldn't have come soon enough for Toyota, I think, just in terms of something to shout about. It's been lacking for a while.
I loved it. I'm totally in love with the car.
If you never thought you'd hear the words Toyota and exciting in the same sentence again, the 86 might well change your point of view. We've had drifting, we've been up in aerobatic planes today, and all in all the launch and the car have really embodied the advertising tagline of Go Play. The concept was known as the FT86, and I don't know if it's true or not, but some have said the FT stood for Future Toyota. If the 86 is the future, then Toyota just got exciting.